Good morning, everybody. So today I'm going to do another Lightroom video. I haven't done a Lightroom video in a few weeks, and I really want to start getting on a regular cadence. Probably posting these up either on Thursdays or Fridays. This past week was pretty hectic for me with traveling. This next week is going to get hectic, but I'm going to be doing a ton of content while I'm traveling. It's the whole purpose of my travel. So today what I thought I'd do is, last night I took my Inspire 1 Pro with the X5 camera out, which is a micro 4/3 camera. It's got a 15mm f1.7 lens on it, shoots 16 megapixel stills, and will shoot 4K at 24 frames a second, 30 frames a second, I think. I took that out last night for the first time down at Laguna Beach. Skies were amazing, and I really just took one raw image. That was it. I got it up in the air. I took one raw image. I wanted to see how it would look, and I'd bring that into Lightroom today and do a quick edit of it. By no means is this a perfect image or an image that I would probably use to publish, but what I like about it is that I have some areas that are well exposed, I have some areas that are underexposed, and I want to show you what I would do to go through with a basic edit and what I would do to this image and to fix it. So this is the image that's up right now that you see on the desktop. So I'm just going to run through in Lightroom here. What I've done is I've imported this one image into this catalog. So this whole entire catalog has one image in it. And just looking at this, you can see over here in the information window that I shot at ISO 100, 15mm lens, f1.7, 1/120th of a second. There's really no blurriness. It's pretty sharp. When I look at the image, a couple of things right off the bat that I see. This area down here is well underexposed. And some of this right here is a little bit bright. It's not too bad, actually. Nothing is clipping, meaning that it's going higher than what can be rendered. And then we've got the clouds here. So I think the color's a bit on the green side. I haven't gone in and looked in the white balance yet to see where we are, but I think that it's a bit on the green side. I want to make it more blue to make it look more like it did last night. I want to pull up some shadows. I want to add some contrast, and I want to bring some detail out and some more color. So I'm going to show you a couple of things on here. This isn't really a comprehensive tutorial on a specific tool, but what I thought I would do to start off this Lightroom series is go through a relatively basic edit, show you the edit, and then I'm actually going to go ahead and, I was going to say if you have a similar sunset image you want to work on, but I think to give you the most out of it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this image to WeTransfer. The link will be in the description below, and you can download this image, do whatever you want with it, completely royalty free. Just don't sell it. To me, it's not a sellable image, but don't sell it. Anything like that. Claim it as your own. Credit me if you're going to use it on your website for anything. If you're going to post it for something, please credit me back. But other than that, have fun with it. Do any edit that you want. And if you end up posting an edit, put the link. Send me a link or something. And when I do a follow-on video, or when I put the content of this onto my site, which is in development now, I'll credit you back. So with that, let's get started. So right now we're in Library. And what we can see is, our histogram here. So we've got some peaks. Basically on a histogram, we'd like to see it like this, kind of go up in the middle, then taper back down. I can see on the right-hand side here. So if we look at the histogram, on the left-hand side are our shadows. Then it goes to midtones, then it goes to highlights. So we can see a lot of exposure information here in the shadows. Pretty good amount here in the midtones, but in the highlights, they just drop right off. So we're probably going to increase the exposure some, bump that up. So let's go into Develop. And to get started, we're not going to do any of the pieces on here that are automated on these presets. We're going to do all of this right from the start and just take you right through. So one thing that I do right off the bat is I turn on what's called show clipping. So to show you what that is, I'm going to increase the exposure really quick on the entire image, and then you'll see some red spots coming through. Okay, so now where you see all of this red, that means that it's overexposed. You turn clipping on just by pressing J and turn it off and on. So right there, that's just the J key to turn it on, J key to turn it off. I like it on. So let's reset this image. So right now we're at the base. So one thing that I see is you might not notice it here, or you might, depending on how your eyes are, but the horizon here isn't quite level. So I'm going to do a crop on this. So to do that, now I could do this a couple of different ways. For me, I'm just going to do a crop because there's a lot of other information here. Like the clouds, I would probably throw it off, but Lightroom does have an auto level feature and it can level it horizontally or vertically. But we're just going to hit R R is going to bring up the crop tool. Now, if you don't like to use keyboard shortcuts, the crop tool is also right here, this marquee box that you see. So you can click there. And now I have a crop, here with a grid. But if I come out of here to a corner where I see the rotate, when I press down on the mouse, I'm going to get this much larger grid. And now you can see, if you look right along this edge where the horizon is between the sky and the sea, you can see on the right-hand side, there's not as much room between the sky and the sea as there is on the left-hand side. So we're just going to rotate this a little and make these relatively even. It's not much of a change. It's about that right there. Press enter. That confirms the crop. We're good to go. If I ever want to go back and undo something, I could just hit Command Z or Control Z on the PC. And that's that right there. And then Shift Control Z or Shift Command Z will take me back. And I can hit Command Z in Lightroom many times back and just step all the way back through my undos. So right off the bat, like I said, I thought this was a little bit green. You can see on the tent for the white balance as it was shot, it is a little bit green. So I'm going to take this, I want to make this 0. And right there you can start to see those more sunset colors come through, right? So let's undo that. So if we undo that, you can see the colors here kind of washed out. If I go in here and I just set this to 0, that's in the tent part, much better color. And then I actually think I want to dial the temperature down because this was more blue there. So that's about, it's pretty good right about there. Let's just make this like 3900. So already, I think that already looks better, right? So if we hit reset, there it is, the crop, just the color temperature change, and that's it. Let's undo that, reset, and now we're there. So I'm just going to basically go from the top down. All right, so right off the bat, I can see the exposure here. I want to bring the exposure up some, but I don't want to clip. Just a very little bit, that's like a 1/6 of a stop. One thing that I definitely want to do is I want to bring up shadows. So in this area where there's not a lot of detail, if I want to just increase the shadows, I'd increase those and I'll take just the dark values and boost those. Now a couple of caveats to that is that if I'm bringing those up, I will introduce noise. I'll get some color noise in there. So I don't want to go too much because this is a darker scene, but I want to go some. So I'm just going to grab the shadows. This is right now, this is applying it to the whole image, but I'm okay with some shadows in the water or some shadows in this cloud right here coming up as well. So I'm going to hit shadows, bring it up, and you can see you can really crank it right now. See how much you can see the town? So there's 0 there. You can bring it all the way up. That actually doesn't look terrible, but I'm not going to bring it up by 100. I'm going to bring it up about quite a bit for me. Let's go to about 36, 35. Now it looks good. Whites are going to do just the opposite. We can boost or take away whites. So you can see I can increase the whites, and it doesn't really increase anything else. So you can see these white cars here, these lights, the reflection here in the sky. When I boost that white, you'll see all those get more intense. You'll see them come down. I'll bring them up just a tad. I'm not going to really mess with my black point. Then clarity. Clarity will tend to darken it up a little bit as we add some edge sharpness and contrast. I'm going to boost just a little bit of clarity, not much. So if I go crazy, this is kind of your HDR look, or where you get that too much structure and it doesn't look real. I'm going to go very light on the clarity. I don't usually use too much. Let's actually bring that down to about a 5. And again, we'll undo that. You can see just very little change in there, not much at all. And then let's bring the vibrance up just a touch. And add a little bit of saturation. Saturation is how deep, saturated that color is. So we're going to bring that in. I'm not going to mess with that too. So this is over the whole picture. One thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a neutral density filter on here, a graduated neutral density filter, so that I can adjust the exposure of the sky compared to the rest of it. So let's go ahead and grab that. So here in the upper part, let's make this big. You've got these 3, your crop, you've got your brush, your red eye, and we're going to go right here to neutral density. You'll see it's set for exposure, and it's set at a 1. Now what I like to do with neutral density is I'm going to crank this way up, higher than you ever would. I'm going to hold down in the middle up here, press the mouse key, and start pulling down while I'm holding shift, and that's going to give me a straight line all the way across. And the farther that I do this, the more gradual that is, and the closer that these lines are together, the quicker that transition happens. We have a pretty hard edge here in the horizon, so I'm actually going to make these pretty close together. Let's just come down. So that red line is basically where, now what I don't like is, and you can see on the mountains there where they're not quite clipping, I want a little more transition than that. So let's go ahead and hold this, grab that lower bar and just bring it down some. So effectively, I'm changing the opacity of that filter. Actually, let's make it a little more strict. The opacity of that filter and how quickly it's applied. So I'm going right to the horizon. Now, my sky was brighter than my foreground, right? So the sky is effectively the background. The foreground is the city. I want to actually bring that exposure down on the sky to more closely match that. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring out a lot more color and a lot more detail. So right now we're overexposed. So 0 is the base exposure. If we went up by, let's say, 1 stop, so you can see there I lose a lot of detail. Now let's go down by 1 stop. So let's go -1. And already that's a lot better. I actually think that that is about where I'll sit. I like the look of that. And so we can play around with it a little bit more. Let's bring it down. That's too much. So yeah, I actually think about -1 is the right value. And let's go ahead and close that tool. Now, actually, let's open that back up. So I've closed the tool, right? So now I'm not seeing that brush. But if I click graduated filter again, the box opens up. And if I click my brush right here, I can see my mask, so that's where it's applied. So you can see a little bit's applied down in the town, not much, mostly on the sky. Now I can go back in here and adjust it more. So maybe I want to add a little more blue in the sky here. So I like that. Maybe I want to add a little more purple, right? So if I go this way, this looks more like a sunrise. If I go this way, that looks more like a sunset. Actually get some great colors there. That's a little too much. There we go. And let's come down to see if we play around with highlights. Let's drop highlights down some. Maybe boost some contrast. Not much, just like 5. I am gonna actually adjust the shadows a little bit because this is only going to affect really this corner over here, but then it's going to affect this hillside. So how this hillside is darker than the rest of the town, I'm going to adjust the shadows a little bit and just bring that up. So now that kind of matches right below where it was. So let's go ahead and see that. So now that hillside looks the same. If I undo that, you can see how that hillside's darker. Like there's a definite line right here, right? So by adjusting the shadows, I got rid of that line, and now that hill more closely blends in. Let's open that up again and see if there's anything else that we want to do here. I don't think there is. Maybe a little bit of saturation. Now we could go crazy, and that looks ridiculous. That looks pretty natural. That looks pretty close to how I saw it last night. Of course, our eyes have more dynamic range than any lens out there. Now let's go ahead and play with contrast. So pretty much right off the bat, I throw a medium contrast on almost everything. And just take a look and see how it looks. And then I can boost the lights a little bit. Or I can go in here and boost the shadows some. Right, so I don't want to do that too much. It gives it a haze. So let's see if we went linear or medium. You know what, in this case, I'm actually going to keep the contrast right where it was because I like the detail that's here in the city. Let's come down. So probably on this image, there's only a couple more things that we're going to do. I'm over here, I have this hue saturation layer, your HSL, your color, your black and white. Let's see, the best way to explain this is that each of these, as I click each of these colors, anything that I change is only going to affect the color that I've selected or the colors that are within that range. So as an example, if we're here on blue, I change this hue, you'll see everything that's in the blue spectrum change. Right, so see that? But if you look down on the building, so most of the building, I mean, this whole image has a lot of blue on it. But if you look at the headlights of the cars, the orange that's down close to the horizon, that's not changing at all. Just got to make this 0. Now let's go to orange. And let's change that sunset color. So we can give it red. We can bring it over here, right? So we can do a lot just to affect that. We're affecting the red lights or the orange tungsten lights that are coming off of the cars. We're affecting some of the lights that are in the town that are tungsten because they're orange. And then let's do one more. Let's go over here to, what else is in here? Let's maybe grab, this is purple. And let's mess with purple. So you'll see those clouds up there. I can really change those. Right, so I can bring them out a bit more, so that's great. So actually, maybe just a little bit. There we go. We've added a little bit of color in there. We can change how saturated they are, or I can totally take away the color so they look like gray clouds. I'm just going to leave it at about 4. And so really quickly, let's look at the original image. Reset. Not a bad image, not a great image. And let's look at it now. Way better. Like that's something that you could post somewhere. You'll be perfectly happy with it. And then we've got lens corrections. Tonight we're not going to apply lens corrections because I know that there's not a profile for this DJI Inspire 1 Pro. And then highlight priority. So if I want to, a lot of times I'll add a little vignette around the edges just to engage people and get them to view where I want them to view, which is generally more in the center area of the frame. So if I wanted, I could add a little vignette here. Very slight, right? So like that's way too much. Let's go ahead and turn clipping off so you can see what that looks like. That's way too much, right? This is 0 here. What I could do is add just a little bit around the edges. Just darkens that up, so let's look at the difference here. No, so there's that, and there is 0. So now let's just go back and forth. There's 7, there's 0, 7, 0. So I like that. I like just the little slight vignette. And then right now for this image, that's it. That is all I would do. If I was to do anything else, I may grab a brush. So over here on the right hand side, I've got my adjustment brushes. I may grab some shadows. So if I hit each of these, I'm only affecting those. So I may hit shadows and bump the shadows up a bit and come in here and paint through, right? So I can really, add in just, this town, right? And the beach over here. Now you'll see the haze, so there's some fog coming in. So maybe I don't bring in that much, right? But maybe I bring it up and just from there. So if I look at this, if I've got 0 or 11, that looks pretty good. I like that. And in the same way now I can add a little bit of clarity or some sharpness, right? So I could add sharpness. That's not really going to do too much. But take it away it is. Or I could add some clarity here. There, so I like that. So let's look at the original. Let's go ahead and close that adjustment brush. Let's look at the original image. So there's the original image right out of the camera. And here we are, maybe 5-6 minutes into an edit, and that's it. So if I look over here, so here it is. We changed some exposure to show you that. And see how on the left here, as I go through this history, the little thumbnail that's up on the left in the navigator, let me make this a little bit bigger. I can actually step through this. So there to exposure, you can start to see it build. There's where we have the neutral density filter, the graduated neutral density filter. And then just came through. So I can step back through everything that I did. So you can see this on the screen. So here, I'll start at reset settings. You can see what we did, right? Crop, tint, temperature, exposure, all of that. So if you wanted, you could pause, you could take a screen capture, and you can see the actual values here of what we changed it to. So if you wanted to, you could. So for example, in temperature, you could go into temperature and set that to -84 and 3900 for the color, and you would see that. Scroll up here now, and there's the rest. Update clarity, adjustment, all of that. And that is a quick edit in Lightroom. So really, those are some of the most basic things that you're gonna do. Crop on landscapes, graduated ND filter if you didn't shoot with one. Go through, adjust your exposure, your contrast, your highlights, your shadows, maybe some of your color selectively like we did, and then go through and use your adjustment brushes. So hope you find that helpful. Do look below. There's going to be a link to WeTransfer where you can download this DNG file. I'm going to upload the raw file so that you can have it. And then download it, play with it, show me what you can do with it. If you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, this is a quick edit. And then each of these tools I'll dive into much deeper in the weeks to come. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you watched yesterday with the giveaway for the ND filters. Like I said, later this week I'll have a giveaway announcement coming up. I already do have one item to give away. I'm waiting for another one to try and figure out which that is. And I think that I'm going to give those away at 4,000 subscribers, which is only 1,500 from now. So I've seen it builds really quickly. They're going to be great giveaways. So we're going to climb right up to 4,000, no problem. So thanks for watching. Share this video out if you know anybody that's doing some video editing. Direct them my way. These videos are just going to get better with everybody's, viewing these and kind of giving me an idea of what you want. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will post a video for tomorrow. Now you keep watching. I'll keep making videos. Give me your comments below. Let me know what you think. Give it a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.